What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So with Yuzu shutting down, there does appear to be a bit of a ripple effect now going through the emulation scene, with some emulators popping up to take Yuzu's place, then some shutting down, others going free, and some just kind of hanging out trying to figure out exactly where they fit in. We're going to go over the fallout, though, from the Yuzu versus Nintendo situation here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Game Pass, as there's a bunch of new games going in for the month of March, and WB said some very weird things, specifically that live services, that's still the future. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early and ad-free. If you want to learn more about that, check the join button down below this video. And we're going to start today with TimeSplitters. The TimeSplitters that actually got canceled and Free Radical got dissolved at Embracer Group, as of course they were moving to make all kinds of cuts. Well, it seems that at least some footage of the game in development got out there on LinkedIn. Now, I'm not really sure if I could show you the video footage, but what I'll do is just kind of scroll over here to Insider Gaming, who had the story, and they appear to have something playing here on the screen. Well, hey, this is just Insider Gaming's webpage here. They do say that the footage being uploaded to LinkedIn by Rob Steptoe said, "I'll be sure to post what I can on the project." It's about 5 minutes, and unfortunately, it looks very reminiscent of Fortnite. It's third person, which doesn't really make sense for TimeSplitters, and while the aesthetic may have changed, these could just be kind of like placeholder assets. It doesn't really look like what I was envisioning or hoping for TimeSplitters. So it is still a shame that TimeSplitters didn't eventually come out, but looking at this, I don't know if I really wanted it to exist in that way, but who knows, maybe someday we can get back to the first-person, fast arcade arena shooter action that TimeSplitters was. Also, we do have a physical copy for Baldur's Gate 3 coming up, and it appears it's going to be more than 3 discs on the Xbox Series. Check this out. This is posted up. This is by Cromwell, saying, "The Xbox retail version of Baldur's Gate 3 will indeed have 4 discs, since we're 500 megabytes over the limit for 3. Wow, imagine being it like that's just like a hair over, considering these are 50 gigabyte discs that they have for the Xbox Series. Only option would have been to cut some content out, but that didn't make sense. So we're confirming 4 updating here. That is very reminiscent. I mean, you can even say the Xbox 360 days, really, where we did get certain games like Lost Odyssey being 4 discs, and they couldn't even fit them all in the spindle. They had to put one in like a sleeve and then put it on the side. I do wonder what the jewel case here is going to look like for the Blu-ray case is going to look like for the Xbox Series, considering there's not necessarily a ton of space in there, and 4 discs might be kind of difficult. Maybe it would just be like a thicker style. That'll be interesting. But yeah, 4 discs for the Xbox Series. That is absolutely ridiculous, and now I kind of want to pick it up. Oh, and we did get some file size details for Rise of the Ronin. This actually posted up over on X from PlayStation Game Size, saying it's coming in at 96.343 gigabytes, just under 100 gigabytes. The preload will go live March 15th, with the release being March 22nd at midnight. And to my understanding, based on the embargo details, looking at the March 21st, I believe, for that. So just a few days before, we'll at least have an idea as to how good this game is. I'm still really unsure. The footage looks fine. It looks like Team Ninja stuff, but I also feel like at times I've seen it and done it before. So I'm interested. I do like a lot of the Team Ninja games that they've been creating recently. Things like Neo was good. Wolong I thought was pretty good. So I feel like I'll enjoy this, but it does come out the same day as Dragon's Dogma 2, so decisions. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the fallout from Nintendo versus Yuzu. Of course, Yuzu shutting down, having to pay Nintendo $2.4 million, and they weren't done there. They also took the URL from them, and that's kind of it for a very popular Nintendo Switch emulator that a lot of people were pointing to the monetary gain of having a Patreon and then locking fixes for Tears of the Kingdom behind it, apparently, before the game had even released. Nintendo, I feel like they had quite a bit of stuff on them, and if it went to Discovery, it probably would have gotten even worse. So they settled, and here we are now with Yuzu just kind of going away, although the internet doesn't forget, and there's still plenty of download links being mirrored all over the place for the latest builds of not only Yuzu, but Citra, which is again the one that a lot of people have the most issues with currently, since the 3DS is legacy, Nintendo doesn't even have a shop for it anymore, and those games are getting more and more expensive, along with the systems. But of course, as Yuzu goes away, other projects have popped up, as pointed out by WCCF Tech, with the Yuzu and Tsuyu projects. That's kind of like if you put the fake mustache, nose, and glasses. Okay, I mean, Tsuyu is at least clever. You know, Sue You is Nintendo suing, sure, but Yuzu, I guess it's a new Yuzu. So, hey, there you go. There's some other projects popping up that I'm sure won't catch Nintendo's attention at all. Actually, they probably knew about them as soon as they went live. Trust me, Nintendo is very in the know, more in the know with this stuff than I think people realize. Now, because, of course, Citra is gone, or at least it's not getting updated or anything, and it's getting harder and harder to find online at this time, people have turned their attention to some of the other emulators, like apparently Mikage. They say on X, we were out for the last 2 hours, and apparently the world has now fully caught fire. For the record, the recent legal shenanigans do not affect our 3DS emulator. We'll continue to monitor the situation, but for now, it's time to shine. Now, I will point out they do have a Patreon, so they definitely want to look in to what happened here with Yuzu to make sure they don't fall in kind of that same trap, because, again, Nintendo, I'm sure they're just paying attention in general, although this is for the 3DS, not for the Switch. Remember, the reason Citra went away was because the Yuzu team was linked to it, and Nintendo was just wiping out everything, basically, that they have done when it comes to emulation that's linked to them. We also have the popular Nintendo DS emulator Drastic, as pointed out by The Verge, that was just made completely free on Android. So before it was $5, technically, if you have an Android phone, you can go on there and download it now. Apparently, it is being shut down completely here soon, so you want to act on that pretty quickly. Exophase wrote on their Discord saying, I want to make it clear that I don't have any kind of financial incentive with the emulator, and Nintendo's move simply made the whole process more urgent. It's kind of what we talked about here before. It's like, how will this affect emulation, as obviously other developers who have emulators are like, ooh, I don't want to have Nintendo come after me, so is it worth still, say, selling this DS emulator? Well, apparently not if they flip the switch and just make it free and intend to remove it soon. There was also a bit of a scare with Ryujinx when it comes to their Discord. I think The Verge caught this one as well, but apparently they just stopped accepting any kind of invites from random people trying to enter their Discord. Now, I did double check, and I was able to accept the invite and join in at the time of this recording, so I don't know if that was a temporary thing, but remember, Nintendo, they're no stranger to Discord, so maybe that was a knee-jerk reaction, but I don't necessarily think that would stop them anyway, because eventually they'd, I'm sure, find their way in at some point. So just keep that in mind. Nintendo, again, very more savvy than people expect them to be with this stuff. I picture Nintendo generally faxing stuff back and forth for communication rather than email, but trust me, they know the right people to hire. Oh, and it appears, as I've been recording here, Yuzu is now shut down. So that's how fast all this stuff seems to be happening. There was a message that was left over on the Yuzu GitHub saying, just wanted to say thanks for the support. Even if many of you hated me for doing this or even stressed me a little, this is my fault, sorry for the mess. Thanks to all of you. And it's just under the about taken down. So there you go. Yuzu's gone. Apparently Tsuyu is still up. We'll see how long that goes until Nintendo attempts to sue them or sue you. But this is something that's going to continue along, as this, again, is kind of a landmark event for emulation now, because that's a big deal. If you're a developer right now for an emulator, even if it's a fun little project, you never know what's going to happen with Nintendo, and you're kind of always looking over your shoulder for that one. So it's something to definitely keep an eye on for Ryujinx. I think that's the big one people are eyeing up currently. It's like, okay, is this going to spill over to them? At this time, it doesn't necessarily look like it, but who knows? This Yuzu stuff kind of came out of nowhere, so we'll see. Next up, let's talk about WB and some recent comments from their gaming boss when it comes to the path forward for single-player AAA games like Hogwarts Legacy and live service games like Suicide Squad. So right now, think about the success that they've seen with those titles, and then tell me which way you think they would go with this one. Let's see what he said. This is actually posted up over on GameSpot with JB Parrott, again, the gaming boss at Warner Bros. Discovery, saying, "We're doubling down on games as an area where we think there is a lot more growth opportunity that we can tap into with the IP that we have and some of the capabilities we have on the studio, where we're uniquely positioned as both a publisher and a developer of games. Rather than just launching a one-and-done console game, how do we develop a game around, for example, a Hogwarts Legacy or Harry Potter? That is a live service where people can live and work and build and play in that world in an ongoing basis." So if you thought these big companies like WB were done with live service games after something like Suicide Squad, you guessed wrong. They're going to keep pushing with it, and I feel like they look at Hogwarts Legacy not as a path to making more of these AAA, as they say, just one and done kind of games. They see that as a path towards, okay, we've introduced this IP. Harry Potter clearly works just in gaming. How do we now transition it over to a live service release so we don't have to make another AAA game and then another one? We can just have one that we work on constantly going forward and just rake in a ton of money. And that's the thing. We see these just fail constantly. Like, there is a small percentage of live service games that are successful, and there's an even smaller percentage that are able to do it years and years and years later, right? Because some get out to a fast start and they just fade over time, and then it's not worth really developing for it anymore, and you shut it down. It's hard to make a Fortnite, an Apex Legends, something like that. It's not very common, but all these companies want to take a shot at it, and if they get it wrong, they feel like they can do it right if they just try again and then again and again. I will say, though, Harry Potter, clearly a strong intellectual property in gaming with Hogwarts Legacy, and while I would like to see a follow-up to that game with just improving it across the board, it'll probably have major online multiplayer components added in, and they'll try to make a Destiny or a Fortnite or something like that, the metaverse direction. So unfortunately, that seems to be the way for WB, and we'll see how it works out for them in 5 or 6 years when they develop currently and end up kind of behind the times because it just takes so long to make these games, and then them try to push that as a live service. Next up, let's talk about Xbox Game Pass games for the month of March, as we have this posted up over on news.xbox.com, starting actually right now available, Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun, cloud console and PC. Moving up to March 7th, so tomorrow, we have Paw Patrol World, that's cloud, console, and PC. March 12th, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, cloud, console, and PC. Control Ultimate Edition, that's cloud, console, and PC on March 13th. On March 14th, check this out, No More Heroes 3, cloud, console, and PC. That's a big one, and I do recommend, if you've never tried it, yeah, why not? See what you think. It will, of course, run better on PC or on Xbox than it did when it first came out on the Switch, but it is a really fun game, very unique game is what I'll say, and it's definitely a good title to go into Game Pass for more people to try out and maybe just find this intellectual property that at times still obviously is more on the niche side for people. Then we have Lightyear Frontier, that's in-game preview, cloud, PC, and Xbox Series X and S on March 19th. And then as well on March 19th, we have MLB The Show 24, cloud and console. Microsoft continuing to get the Sony developed MLB The Show into Game Pass day one. And I think that's probably the best thing for yearly sports titles, is to go into Game Pass, because we know how it works. Just a few months later, they're heavily depreciated, and something like this just has a bunch of microtransactions in it anyway, so why not get it in Game Pass, then kind of go from there. But overall, pretty good start to the month of March here for Game Pass, and definitely a lot of variety with SpongeBob, No More Heroes 3, MLB, and then Control. Something for everyone, I guess, here. But I might actually go back and fire up No More Heroes 3 again. It's been a while since I played it on the Switch, and seeing it just running better here on an Xbox or PC would be kind of cool to check out once again and revisit it. But let me know which game you're going to be checking out here for Game Pass in some of these announced titles. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about March 10th, which is Sunday, that also known as Mario Day. Now, we had already discussed this a bit, as it seems like there's some stuff happening over the weekend to celebrate it, but now we're getting more information around sales and even a demo that could be coming up that makes me wonder if maybe there's a bit more than just an announcement here or there. Could there be a full video or live stream to celebrate the day? Well, this is posted up over on Nintendo's website, as they are pointing out that there will indeed be sales as expected, but these will start March 7th, as there'll be digital games featuring Mario and friends that'll run into the 17th. And then we have from March 10th to the 16th at retailers up to $20 off on select games featuring Mario and friends, or a $25 retailer gift card when you purchase any Nintendo Switch system. That could be a good chance to get some of these first-party Nintendo games featuring Mario physically at a $20 discount. So not a bad idea. As we know, those games don't typically go on sale as often. And then, of course, we have the LEGO stream coming up here on the 9th. But Piaro is alluding to or hinting at the idea of there being a demo for Princess Peach Showtime, where he quote tweets, actually the Showtime tweet originally from 2023, saying, "Is there a trial version?" Now, I do wonder if this is all leading up to a video or just some sort of live stream on Sunday, Mario Day, or if there would be maybe these announcements spread out as they count down the days leading up to March 10th, because we know that there's the LEGO event happening on the 9th. Could there be a string of days here where they talk about the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake getting some new information, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD getting a release date, a demo for Princess Peach Showtime? It's all possible, but I wouldn't mind them doing a countdown with different bits of information getting dropped here and there. That could be kind of fun as we roll towards Mario Day, but who knows? Maybe there's like a Mario Day Direct or something like that. That would be a lot of fun and kind of random to have on a Sunday, but yeah, why not? And before we go to the comments of the day, we're taking a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday. We're asked, if you have a PS5, have you upgraded the storage? 38% say they have, or at least have braved the NVMe installation. 62% say no. So obviously the NVMe drives have come down in price so far in the PS5's lifespan. But I do remember when they were initially pushing the firmware that enabled that slot, because it wasn't, remember, enabled out of the box, they were still kind of expensive. But I feel like it's gotten to the point now where you can get a 1 terabyte for under $100, and I just felt like more and more people would have been upgrading. But maybe there are people out there, they were just like, yeah, hey, if I want to play a game and I need more space, I just uninstall or delete a game off my hard drive and I just re-download it if I want to. So, I mean, yeah, there are probably gonna be many people who just do that for the entire way and never upgrade their storage. But for me, I end up keeping multiplayer games on there that are taking up more and more space constantly. And then every single player game now apparently is like 100 to 150 gigabytes. So it's getting to be kind of a tight squeeze on the 680 gigabytes that you end up with on the PS5 out of the box. And we'll finish up with the comments of the day. We'll start with this one here. This is from SSZ saying, I'm not confident in Dragon Age. First 2 games were great. I tried playing the third one 3 different times and could never get into it. Combine that with the state of gaming today, I don't have any confidence in them. Well, I will tell you this, BioWare kind of needs a win, so I hope they don't try to go the route of what they sort of did with Anthem, where they make it like this live service style game. They just keep it to like a single player. They could probably work multiplayer elements in there, sure, but just don't go the way of let's make an MMO light style game. And you know, you do mention it, Dragon Age Inquisition, that was a good game, but I still feel like the one that I remember like I have the fond memories of is the first one. Even the second one I wasn't that sold on, but when that first Dragon Age came around, it changed a lot. So I hope they can go back and kind of tap some of that magic, sort of that feeling, because I don't know how many more times BioWare can miss and still stick around. And then we'll go to a comment from the members video. This is posted up by Mario. It says, while I don't really like Yuzu being taken down, but in my opinion, I think those who use Yuzu to flex how you can pirate Nintendo Switch games, even before launch date and Steam Deck trailer even accidentally have Yuzu icon, should also be responsible. Anyone who makes an emulator must keep your head low. Yeah, the Steam Deck trailer was pretty funny though, the fact that they had Yuzu in there, so I guess it even slipped past them. But again, Nintendo is aware of a lot of these things, a lot of these emulators, a lot of these fan projects, a lot of these ROM hacks. These are things that they keep very close tabs on, and I think people tend to be surprised just how in the know Nintendo can be at times, but that's kind of their job. They hire people to make sure they stay in the know for this sort of thing. But You're absolutely right in that sometimes, like Yuzu, they don't really do themselves any favors with some of the things they end up doing with Patreon and locking stuff apparently behind paywalls and fixes for Tears of the Kingdom before it's even out. And in that case, Nintendo just kind of built a case that was, for them, too good to refuse, and they decided to take the opportunity to just knock out a very popular Switch emulator that, as we're seeing, is starting to have some ripple effects and place those seeds of doubt. But you're absolutely right. You want to try to keep a low profile if you're developing for an emulator for a system that is still commercially viable for the parent company. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's the fallout from the Nintendo Yuzu situation? Do you think any other major emulators are going to get a cease and desist or some court papers from Nintendo anytime soon? And then also, what about WB continuing to double down on live service games even after what happened with Suicide Squad? And then Mario Day, it's on Sunday. Do you think Nintendo has something up their sleeve for it? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.